Good day and welcome back to the Sunburst Cup, day 2 of the knockout. This is the second weekend of the tournament. I am Fluffy and I am joined by the wonderful Altruism here to cast RQ Anomaly versus VA Crimson.
Oh, Fluffy, I'm excited for this, man. It's been a while since I joined into any of the COWZA Overwatch Cups. And I mean, we got a new patch at this stage, everything up in the air. And we're really starting to get to the pointy end right now in the loser quarterfinals.
Yep, only not that many matches left to go. This will be the last day of the competition. This is the lower bracket quarterfinal between Crimson and Anomaly, both looking to go further on in this competition. The loser of this match will be out. It is over for them. Sayonara, goodbye. But the winner goes on to play either Inglorious Blasters or EA Pangolins.
And I mean, the fact that is already your loser semi-final, even the loser finals, Inglorious Blasters finding themselves in a precarious position that they haven't really had to deal with in, as long as I can remember for this side, normally sitting in there in that winner's final. And then also Pangolin, such a dominant side. I think either of those teams would be difficult to go up against. But I mean, getting through this stage already going to be very difficult. Rage Quit Anomaly sitting with a very experienced roster, and VA Crimson as well, these new up-and-comings who's also sitting with people like Lime Oros, who's been around for a long time. I cannot believe that we have this much depth in the South African Overwatch scene right now.
Yeah, 6 teams left in the competition. On the upper bracket winners final, we've got later on today at 4 o'clock, Five Nights at Freddy's and Pink Salamanders, the 2 real heavyweights in this competition. And then in the quarterfinal, as I said, Inglorious Blasters and Pangolins. We have that top 3, already sort of identified, as you say. Inglorious Blasters finding themselves in an unusual position in the losers bracket, and we've had Anomaly trying to break into that top 3 for so long, and now there's someone creeping up behind them, Crimson, saying, actually, you don't want that top 3, we want that top 3, so go away. And Anomaly find themselves in that tricky situation now, having already lost once to Crimson in the group stage.
I know, right? And then you've also got like Pink Salamanders, a team that's really come up and started to shine in this tournament. They have done fantastically well managing to take on that game. 3-0 versus the VA Ascension, and then 3-0 versus Crimson as well. A dominating performance for them. And so it really does become this tale of 2 stories right now. I mean, in terms of our bracket, it's basically sweeps across the board, except for Valkyrie managing to take a game off for Rage Quit Anomaly in loser round 2. Other than that, I think we're going to start to see some much tighter contests.
Yeah, hopefully this one will be close. It's difficult to really predict this game. Crimson have taken the win off Anomaly once already in this competition in the group stage last weekend, but that you put an asterisk next to that result because Anomaly, unfortunately, due to some load shedding problems, were not playing with their full roster. It was a bit of a mixed match of the team. So now with the full teams going head to head, we're hopefully going to have a better game on display today, and hopefully, Anomaly can turn that result around and proceed to the losers semi-final, where they'll be playing Inglorious Blasters or Pangolins. Another close game, but you think that Inglorious Blasters do take that one.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see that right now. I'm very interested to see as well what these 2 teams are going to bring to the fore. With the changes that we've seen in Season 9, that greater health pools, the new DPS pass. So, I mean, that has certainly proven to be a big game changer. It kind of feels to me, from the little bit that I've been playing and what I've been watching, that there's 2 tempos. One, when everyone's focusing someone, they just die instantly.
Yes.
Otherwise, it seems to drag out for a little bit longer. So the intensity and how a team who kind of like focuses down on the same target first and which target you choose can really define a fight.
Yeah, it's very much a burst patch that's been introduced. That DPS pass to the arguably the biggest, most important thing that got added. And what it means is that there is just not nearly as much sustain in the game. Support cannot keep tanks alive to the degree that they used to be able to. And it means that tanks have to be very aware of their health pools. Everyone does. Sure, health pools are higher, but there's less healing around. And with heroes like Zenyatta being able to one-shot Discord so effectively, Widowmaker getting, a buff, nerfed in the patch, the most recent hot patch, but still very, very strong. Ashe, Sojourn, Tracer, all these heroes, very, very, very powerful. It's very much so a DPS-favored patch. And some teams can, just get by off having a clutch DPS player. We saw in last night's games, Protect the President coming on full effect with Valkyrie, putting all their resources into keeping their DPS alive as they just pop off. But against more of a coordinated team that has more uniformity across the board, that strategy doesn't work that well. And we know that Anomaly, for example, do have that capability. They play the very structured composition. They play these organized team comps. They play a structure with compositions that make sense. They want to dive, or they want to brawl, or they want to spam. It's good at all those compositions, but they always try to have an objective to everything they do. Anomaly, Crimson, are more in-your-face aggressive.
That's the best way to put that. I love that. Super BH, the tank that's taken the role here in this Crimson lineup. I know him well. He plays for our school team. And if there's one thing he does well, it's go forward. He goes straight into your opponent's face, being able to cramp them up really, really nicely as we take a look at the rosters right now. The Crimson lineup has got this wonderful mix. We've got local players, we've got international players, someone like Pazuzu, who's unfortunately not here today, but even Melody, who's jumping in on that role, is going to be an interesting person to watch, because that ping difference now a little bit mitigated by the bigger projectile sizes, but still having an advantage of 12 milliseconds versus 180 is brilliant. But then you've got people like Lime Oros, a stalwart in this who's been around for a long time. And that means that I don't know how well they've managed to congeal together. They've done very well to get to this point, but if they're going to rely on that super aggressive playstyle, they're going to need to be coordinated, because like you say, Rage Quit Anomaly is a team that has a game plan and they love to stick to it, and I think they'll be able to execute it with a lot more clarity of mind.
Absolutely, and fortunately, the Anomaly that we saw last night, where we had the wonderful BTS fan playing tank, will not be happening today. Thankfully, we're going to be spared BTS fan, Doomfist, and Monkey. We're going to have Lord of Terrans playing tank. Normality has been restored. The load-shedding gods have smiled upon us. BTS fan back on his usual projectile DPS comp. And interestingly, Kuragari here coming in on the hit scan, which is a bit of a better look for Anomaly. It's when we have BTS fan and Rinku Haireru playing, it's a bit of a clash of error pools there. They both kind of want to be playing that Genji Tracer role. So having Kuragari coming in to play that hit scan role, I think, is a better look for Anomaly. On the side of the support lineup, we're going to have a double flex support lineup from KK and Phoenix. Double flex support, very, very strong in this patch, although you wonder if not having that, mainstay Lucio player might hurt them, because Lucio is very, very strong in this patch. It also enables a lot of compositions, Jotes comps, dive comps, brawl comps, all can work with Lucio, and all are helped by Lucio. So we'll see if they lean into the double flex support, or if they decide to go a way of having maybe Phoenix flex onto the Lucio. We'll see.
Well, I just look at the most played heroes for Anomaly. They have this ability to burst so well. You've got a Genji dashing around the back line, so powerful there. And I'm very interested to see if BTS fan can work that. You've got the Discord Orb to follow him and really isolated targets. You've got a Widowmaker, Kuragari, doing excellently on that recently, where if they're not contested, you're so busy worried about what's happening in your back line with the Genji that you're giving too much space. And Widow has, of course, been a really nice popular pick these days. I know that they've just, in the hotfix, just recently nerfed how easy it is to hit the headshots, but if you were good back before Season 9, you're still going to be great. And then, of course, increasing that range gives so many more options for the lethal headshots. So I still haven't completely worked out where the breakpoints are and who she can and cannot one-shot. But definitely
150 HP heroes.
150 HP.
250 HP.
250 HP. That's everyone, basically. I mean, that's disgusting. And then you put a Discord Orb on it, or a dashing game through there. I mean, that's going to be fantastic.
Because let's not forget that, yes, she got nerfed in the most recent hotfix, but that's still a buff from Season 8. From Season 8 to Season 9, the projectile size got a lot bigger. Then it got slightly reduced from the hotfix, so it's still bigger from Season 8. So it is still easier to land a shot across the board, just not as easier as it was 3 days ago. But She's still very, very strong.
You talk about not having a Lucio player. I think that's still something that's very adaptable towards what your team needs to do, especially if you're practiced on that. You don't end up relying on it. And yeah, your brawl especially, I would say, becomes a little bit weaker. But when it comes to your dive, your instant demolition of anyone who pokes out in the wrong place, you still have that opportunity, and then you just end up playing more of an individualistic. And I'm very interested to see, I haven't seen a lot of commentary on how the healing passive for everyone comes in, because to me 5 seconds is still a hugely long time. There was a lot of hype and a lot of worry that this was now going to be a completely different game, but 5 seconds to start a health regen, you as a Genji don't want to really be out of the fight for 5 seconds.
It's very, very strong for some heroes and basically useless for others. For example, a hero like Tracer is just and Sombra are giga buffed by this patch, because after a fight or whenever they take pressure, they don't need to go running after health packs to survive. They can sit there, trigger that passive, and then they can re-engage whenever they want to. Wrecking Ball also getting that buff, so Wrecking Ball, a very, very strong hero in this patch. Tracer, very strong. Sombra, quite strong as well. But then you compare that to a hero like Reinhardt, who unfortunately is a bit dead in the gutter at the moment. What's Reinhardt gonna do with 5 seconds after taking 10,000 damage? He triggers 30 HP per second. It's never gonna help him at all. So flankers, more individualistic heroes, I got there in the end, are benefiting from this passive a lot. But then more team-orientated heroes like Reinhardt, like Orisa, Monkey, even all of the tanks don't benefit from it. More of the independent heroes benefit a lot from it.
And I mean, when you think about it like that, then you can't get it's the big thing with this DPS passive. You can't get someone out of trouble. There is no way to out heal when someone's positioned themselves badly. So yeah, the Ryan can throw up the shield, and if the shield lasts more than 2 seconds, then the DPS passive goes away. But I mean, if the Ryan is having to backpedal for 3 or 4 seconds, chances are they were really deep in the first place. Or something like an Orisa without that mobility means that even with your Fortify on, you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you get into the wrong place. And I kind of like this because it means that the game is less static. You talk about less or more individualistic. At the end of the day, something like those dimes, something like those complete quick executioners still rely on a lot of teamwork. And it means that we're going to get to see, I think, the teams who can play together and execute with flawless precision as a team. Those guys are still going to be the ones that we're seeing dominating any match. And so I'm still excited to see how polished a team is on the go call.
Yeah, positioning is more important than ever. But I think since maybe GOATS, positioning is more important than ever. Not just as an individual, because if you're a tank and you peek a corner and you take 1,000 damage, and you maybe peek that corner a meter further than you should, you're going to die because the DCPS passive, you're not able to be healed in time, and that's, your individual mistake has cost your team. But on the other side as well, team positioning is also more important than ever, because like you say, that damage needs to come out, and the game requires that coordination. So you have to be coordinated as a team. You have to be taking a position as a team to be able to execute those dives, execute those crossfires in the spam comps, or those engages in the brawl comps, whatever you're playing. So on the one hand, you can't make a mistake as an individual. On the other hand, as a team, you have to stage perfect, because if you don't and you're out of position, your dive isn't going to be successful. If your dive isn't successful, it means you're going to die.
And so, I think this is where Anomaly probably might have a slight edge because of their long-term experience. You've got someone like Lord of Terrans, who is a very, very experienced player, where I think they'll be able to adapt a little bit better. If a strategy isn't working, then you're going to be able to go, okay, let's try to take this high ground. Let's try to favor this sort of pathing towards the point. That sort of ability and adaptability means that you can start countering out and making up for the execution by just getting yourself into the right place first and then trying to capitalize on your opponents. And VA Crimson, I don't know who their shot caller is right now. So, that sort of lack of experience could come a little bit against them.
Potentially. We do this. It's a new team, but not a team that hasn't been together for a bit. They do scrim regularly. They have play together, and they're not, as we've already mentioned, as you said before, they're team players that do know how to play competitively. So being thrown together, it's not the end of the world for them with regards to their, how they're going to play things. They do understand the basic structure. Normally, your tank will be your main caller. Super BH, is experienced in that role, so he can fill in that position if that's something that he needs to do. We're not really sure. Obviously, we don't know the internal dealings of their comm structure, but I'd imagine that it wouldn't be too much of an issue. As we're going to be going in, I believe, soon. We do have all the players available. And it looks like the first map is going to be Lijiang Tower. How that plays in, that's a map with a lot of variety. There's the control center where Brawl is often favored. There's gardens where more dive comps are favored. And then there's also, what's it called? Night Market, where it can be a bit of anything. So I think Anomaly, we like to see, we see a lot of Queen comps out of them. They like to play Junker Queen, a bit of a comfort here from the side of Lord of Terran. But that works, Queen quite strong on this patch. Crimson, they like to play aggression, so that might be a bit of a head-to-head clash on the control center. On the other hand, it really difficult to say how it's going to go on the other two, because what compositions they play is so up in the air.
Yeah. We have been corrected, by the way, by Twitch chat. Blur, of course, renowned person in the scene, knows all of these players. And he says that Phoenix plays Lucio. Phoenix plays a ghost Lucio.
I will defend myself. I did not say that Phoenix does not play Lucio. I said Phoenix is a flex support. Phoenix has a very wide hero pool, plays a bit of everything, but traditionally plays more flex support heroes. But I imagine that's why I said Phoenix would be flexing onto the Lucio. That was my belief. I will defend myself against Blur's allegations.
There we go, Blur. We get you. Your point has been noted and succinctly dealt with. But, I mean, having someone like Phoenix who can go to the Lucio gives him that option. When you're talking about having, especially like a Junker Queen, someone that does need to like pop in, pop out, fight, get the heal up, tick back, drop back, take a little presence, but don't, all into a play. Having someone like that is fantastic. So the versatility that Anomaly is going to be able to bring to the fore, I think it's going to be great for them.
Phoenix is quite a super sub, being able to play everything.
And we're going right.
We're going in. We're going into map 1. It is Lijiang Tower, as we've said. It is going to be Night Gardens as the first map here. We'll see what the teams pick shortly, as we're going to have Risen and Cubic playing DPS the side of Anomaly, and then Marvers and Alphaetto on support. Some last minute changes there, unfortunately, due to some crisis that was dealt with, thankfully. And a complete mirror head-to-head. Monkey rush from both sides.
Yeah, let's dive on to everyone. Now the big question is who's going to be able to deal with this, because there's no specific backline that you really want to get into on this case. So, you got a Lucio who's going to speed the teams around. I'm interested to see what you think in terms of where we even go with this sort of fight and what sort of positions we take.
It'll be interesting. We're seeing actually some swaps. So BTS fans going to be on the Reaper, which might put a bit more pressure onto Super BH. Whether that's a pre-planned thing, or whether they're trying to maybe punish some aggression that they know Super BH loves, we'll see.
I actually like the Reaper pick here. It means that the monkey dying in needs to have a lot more to worry about, and you can see that Lord of Terrans and the rest of the squad taking a little bit more of aggressive, leapt over by Super BH to control the point, but it's a little bit too far. Alphatello going to be going down, and Super BH quick to follow afterwards, and now it just seems to be a little bit of a cleanup here. Rage Quit Anomaly just being a little over aggressive before they found any purchase there.
Yeah, that was actually a really good early pickup from Alphatello, being able to, once your Kiriko goes down, it's very difficult for everyone to sustain, and Super BH went down immediately afterwards. We're going to have the swap from...
Quick back into the next fight here. Also, we see again the fight, like you say, Marva is changing straight away onto the Reaper. Just that burst damage against the opponent Monkey doing too much, but goes down early into this fight. It means that Rage Quit once more sent packing for the hills. They lose a late play on the Tracer, which means that they're not going to be able to come back. And the Lucio taken off the edge there. Manages to catch himself, but Super BH going down. Big staggers coming out.
Yeah, that second fight. Apologies, I had a small DC there. Thank you for taking over. I'm back though, and we're gonna have our first ults coming up online here. So 2-fight wins there from the side of Anomaly, and we're gonna have a swap Super BH given on the Monkey wants to go on to the D.Va. I think it's a good swap considering how much he's struggling with the Reaper from BTS fan. But COWZA forced early.
COWZA forced early, the Reaper goes off the edge, BTS fan, the first casualty, and suddenly Anomaly are the ones being pushed back a little bit. There goes another boop off there, teleporting back up, can he make it in time? Marvers! Reapers finding the gravity, the most dangerous opposition right now. Super BH manages to take out both of the supports on the other side though. It means that they've got some purchase, yeah, they managed to get onto the point, haven't managed to turn around the possession just yet. And the rest here of Anomaly managing to hold steady for as long as it takes to get this possession up, but eventually it does look like it's going to turn around. It's going to be a late touch coming in here. Kurogagi very short-lived for the world, and eventually with 84% on the board, it is Anomaly the ones who are going to have to try and recontest.
In the end of the world for Anomaly, they only use their Primal, which is not that important in ult grand schema, and in the side that we Crimson were forced to use their beat to win that fight, which is a huge resource. They're going to engage now with their Kitsune, and a great Death Blossom finds Cubic early. But the bomb is going to, both bombs, Pulse and a nuclear bomb, are going to find value. But with the Kitsune, it's still fairly even, a possible win. But with BTS fan, that's really, I think, going to be that. And then Anomaly lose that fight. Crimson doing what they need to do now, because they don't have much time to work with.
It was quite an expensive play for them. They've only got the Death Blossom to come in for the next fight, so if Phoenix plays well, then they can actually counter that out pretty succinctly. And Kurogagi, I think, is going to be the big play here. Whether that Pulse Bomb can stick onto a key target, it's going to be huge. But you got the D.Va Matrix to worry about, you got a lot of mobile characters to try and hit, and of course the COWZA if timed perfectly. So it really is going to be the poke and prod. Here comes the Pulse Bomb. COWZA off instantly in the back line. Means that doesn't come out there. Brilliant. And Lord of Terran not able to find any play. Actually gets the boop kill at the end of this. And you can see the rest of Rage Quit Anomaly just struggling now. Kind of split up fights from them. They're going to be late staggered in this.
Yeah, it's actually, you know, we saw how in the first half of the map when Anomaly were in control, how Super BH was struggling to deal with the Reaper of BTS fan. Now that story's sort of flipped, and now it's Terran Lord that's struggling with Marvel's Reaper, and he's going to have his Death Blossom online. I think the swap onto the D.Va was a very good decision, and I think they're reaping the rewards of that decision to swap.
I do feel like damage mitigation is big here. Early beat comes out there from Anomaly, and they've decided to use that as their go call. They're going to have to worry about the Death Blossom. Does come in, but doesn't find anyone in the back line. Now dropping the D.Va bomb, try to clear out the point. Does actually manage to take out BTS fan. No Wraith available to dodge that. It means that Marv is, with those shotguns, able to do so much damage, get that healing for himself as well. And that is the overtime, straight from 0 to 100%. It means that VA Crimson going to take first round.
Yeah, after such a good start from Anomaly, Crimson, you know, they stabilize, they settle, and they control the point after that flip. So good start, a good adaptation there from Crimson that we saw. And now it's really on Anomaly to respond. We haven't really seen any swaps. They haven't made any changes or any kind of response, not in playstyle or in composition. So we'd like to see maybe a bit of adaptation there from their side. We're going to see a big compositional change from the side of Crimson, because they're going to be moving away from the D.Va, moving away from the Monkey, and going onto the Ramattra with an Echo and a Soldier. So a very different composition that we're going to see out of them. More of a Brawl hybrid kind of composition. Where, sorry, not Brawl. Spam Brawl hybrid composition. And then we're going to see the same thing from the side of Anomaly. We're going to see them sticking to what they know, their bread and butter, this aggressive Monkey Rush style composition. But KK almost goes down there, jeez.
And this is going to be interesting. Who's going to deal with the Echo is the big question in my mind here. And Lord of Terrans, the one who's going to have to find a target very, very wisely. COWZA'd out means that initial damage from there mitigated quickly, but it still manages to find the kills in the early fight. Marv is actually the one who's worried about being uncontested, goes down third in the fight. And that was a quick, clean execution. It was Crimson taking early control of the point, but they got pincered very quickly.
Yeah, they tried to stage up on the point, bunker up a bit, but the way that Anomaly played that was perfectly, and they just say, you know, we don't really care where you are, we're going to dive your backline, kill you. So once Cubic and Alphatello are under pressure, and Alphatello in particular is the important one, once they die, there's nothing really the rest of the team can do. Swap's coming out in there, Super BH giving up on the Ramatra, going on to the Queen. I think it's a good decision. We'll see if it pays off, as well as his last decision to swap when he swapped onto D.Va.
Just managing to come back. Good peel from Super BH to just try and put pressure on BTS Fan. BTS Fan gets out, but Lord of Terran finding too much damage to deal with in the front line, and BTS Fan now has to try and run for the hills. Arisen managing to chew through anyone left alive subsequently. BTS Fan going to try and just delay out this percentage as much as possible. 45% is a good start here for the Crimson, for the Anomaly side. And even with Terran coming back in, he's thrown his life away a little bit too late, and that's going to be a massive stagger.
That's unfortunate. I think they knew they were going to lose the fight. They just wanted to contest it out, stall it out for a bit and die one by one. But he didn't get that touch just in time, so now he actually just gave all that ult charge away for nothing.
Absolutely huge. And now they're pincered, right? So to get out of this little walkway is going to be difficult, so they decide to start with that Dragon Blade, but they're going straight into the sound barrier, and Super BH already finding the counter kill, but the counter kills, talk about those. Crimson going down very quickly between these two DPS players here from the Crimson side. They came through early, and I was worried that they dropped their ultimates a little bit prematurely, but they make it work.
No, it was 3 ults from the side of Anomaly versus 1 sound barrier from the side of Crimson. But, you know, importantly for Anomaly, they did win that fight. How they're gonna, I think now the big thing is Phoenix's sound barrier here, because with all the ults on the side of Anomaly, it has to be a good sound barrier from the side of Phoenix in response.
Yeah, and where do we even start with it? Do you wait for the rampage from the Queen? Doesn't look like there's going to be much time to go here, as they are going out down too quickly. And I like this play. Don't drop the sound barrier. It seems like a very difficult fight to win, and instead just stall it out. Lord of Terran using that big monkey fall to be able to stall things out for as long as possible. Now back onto the point, eventually going to go down, but it was a good delay from them, and they're up to 87%, 88, almost 90%, which means they're effectively one fight territory.
But this is exactly the same as we saw on the last point, and they didn't adjust well to that decision, so we'll see how well they can do on this point. They still have that sound barrier, but there's still a lot of ults on the side of Crimson. They could use it in response. I was thinking they were going to use it in response to the Queen, but like you say, they were not in the best position. There comes the beat now in response to the Kitsune Visor.
Kitsune Advisor is a good 2-for-1 ultimate trade for them, and it's given them space to come out. Lord of Terran going down too early, and BTS Fan right on the verge of that Dragon Blade has also just gone down. Are going to have it for the next fight, but at least baits out a lot from their opposition.
Absolutely, but the worry now is they don't have enough time to get this cap. They are going to have their Dragon Blade, but nothing really else. A Naked Blade in response to that sound barrier from the side of Cubic is almost online. So if they're not careful with how they time this fight, BTS really struggle to get value, and there is not a lot of time to work with. 83% and counting.
I like this positioning from Super BH. Pushes them into the low walkway, means that they delay even more, and still struggling to come around and get some good sign. Here comes the Naked Blade, and counted out immediately by the duplicate, and the Blade finding nothing, eventually finds Alphatello, but that's a lot that you've had to waste into it. Now a big beat to counter it out, and the C9 eventually, just the delay from Crimson was all too much.
Oh no, it was in the palm of their hands. They got the pick they needed to. They picked up Alphatello. It was okay. Crimson invested sound barrier into the 4v5. It was all looking fine. They just need to touch and then drag out the fight to win it. And then they didn't. Oh dear. Oh dear.
And then they didn't.
And then they didn't.
Well, what a horrible way to end that. But, I mean, that kind of is what VA Crimson was looking for, right? The fact that VA pushed up aggressively was there specifically to make them wait. Then there was no way to get around the corner. Once it got out in the open, the Blade didn't do enough to clear out some safe space to move forward to. Everyone was running interception. And so you're kind of caught between this rock and the hard place. Do I just ignore everyone and rush to the point, in which case I'm just being peppered down from a billion angles, or do I try and confirm a quick kill so that when I have to get to the point, I can at least turn on minimal resources and have the man advantage?
Yeah, it's really, on that situation, you want your tracer to be trying to touch point. You know, you don't have to all move to point, but your tracer just to touch, get overtime, and then they can return to the fight, take time as they need. So a bit of a misplay there from the side of Anomaly that hopefully we won't see moving forward. We're going to go over to King's Row as the second map that Anomaly has chosen, which I think is no one didn't see coming. Is this a pattern that we're now going to see? Because for those two maps we saw on Li Zhangtao, we saw Anomaly start off really well, take an early controlling lead, and then struggle. Is this a pattern that we're going to see moving forward?
I mean, King's Row is a big one, right? It is the most well-known. It is South Africa's favorite home. Scrims Row, right? Scrims Row. We know this. Everyone knows this. So Anomaly certainly has seen this a lot of times. Not sure if Crimson has played this, but I mean, who hasn't at this stage? So King's Row should be a very interesting play, and there's got to be a reason why Anomaly is going here. They've got the experience on it. Their pathing is going to be very interesting. I think considering they really did enjoy that sort of dive composition, it means that they can control some of the high grounds really nicely if they're going for that. Just push off something like the Irisen Soldier if he does decide to play that. Crimson, though, with something like a Junker Queen, not someone, even the Ramatra that BH was flashing there for a second, not someone who can really start contesting at range. And so it could make it push their opponents into a difficult position, if nothing else.
Yeah, Kings are traditionally known for brawl compositions, lots of Reinhardt play. Reinhardt, as we've said previously, is in the gutter. Probably the worst hero in the game, if we're brutally honest. And actually, funnily enough, we've been seeing a lot of Monkey played on this point, because people have been enjoying playing on high grounds, controlling high grounds, creating crossfires with their DPS and support, sitting on high ground while people are contesting cycling points. And as I said that, both teams are going to be opening up on the Monkey.
Yeah.
Double flex support from the side of Anomaly. They're probably going to be having them either playing away back of backside of point, almost on second, or controlling high ground. Risen on the Widowmaker, whether that's been early shot or he's going to swap to something else, we'll see. But the Sojourn, fairly similar compositions stylistically, some small changes here and there with heroes, but an interesting head-to-head nonetheless.
I think the big difference is these DPS is whether Risen and Marvs are going to be able to stay safe here. Even Kubik with that nerf to Zenyatta are going to be a little bit squishier of a target. And so if you got BDS fan, Kurigai, and Lord of Terran all jumping on one poor Lucio, you got a kick that has also been nerfed. So very difficult to keep yourself alive. But it comes down to, again, the timing. How quickly do Crimson really want to push into this? How much are Rage Quit Anomaly going to try and push against their opponents? And there is a great way to start it. Just Lord of Terran keeping the space all nice and safe for his squad and doing the work to get up and around this fight. But losing some players themselves there, Terran going to be the one to clean things up. It's a long walk back. If they can stagger out, oh, Lucio, you are in a bad place, Kubik.
Yeah, actually, that's, I think really well played to Phoenix there. Phoenix was staying very high up on high ground, safe, and after that initial pickup onto the Widowmaker, the Discord got so much value onto everything, and you almost see Lord of Terrans just playing like a dog chasing Discord, so really nice Discord uptime there from Phoenix. Now we're going to see Crimson coming back in with a swap. Risen has gone away from the Widowmaker onto the Reaper, so Terran has struggled once already with the Reaper. We'll see if he can perform better. Kubik was down early though.
But look at the positioning. That was brilliant coming out from Anomaly. They just hide behind the hotel. They don't take any of the spam damage from the Sojourn. They're waiting for their opponents. No one's contesting the point, and so they go, oh, you've left someone behind. Let's do a nice rotation around. But eventually it is going to be Anomaly taking too much pressure. Crimson doing a great job of eventually pathing their way around. BTS fan trying to salvage what's left of this fight, but does go down at the end of it. Eventually Crimson just with a very smart game plan to take it nice and slow and eventually collapse on their opponents.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Anomaly again, starting that so well, getting the picks they needed, but then struggling to deal with the Reaper. It seems to be a pattern of they don't know how to answer with the Reaper. Primal Rage is going to come out. That'll give a temporary solution to the Reaper, but there's pressure on both sides and two people falling. That's not great.
Yeah, at this stage now you're going to throw bodies at this point just to try to stand there. Phoenix is not the player that you want to try and contest a point, and eventually it is going to go the way of Crimson.
Yeah, this Reaper pick seems to be a problem for Lord of Terran specifically, because it's twice now that he struggled with the Monkey into the Reaper, and if this pattern continues, it is worrying because this is something we've seen already once before. So hopefully we'll see a bit of a solution. but they need to get more out of their DPS, because we're seeing a lot of the focal point being Lord of Terrans following up that Discord. But once that he's out of the question with that Reaper in his face, the rest of the team needs to then be enabled from his dives.
Yep, it's almost feeling like Crimson's ready to sack Cubic if they need to. They're going, okay, stay safe, but pull everyone else away. And once you've dived with all 3 players of that dive comp, what else do you do? Instead, now you've got the Reaper to contest for a long time. Look at it straight away, the target prioritization coming out there. Lord of Terran goes down, a double kill the other way, instant sleep, counters out the Death Blossom, and eventually layering on top of that wonderful Transcendence means that it is going to be Anomaly staying alive, countering that out and stalling the progress.
Yeah, I mean, who needs tanks, right? Both tanks just dying instantly at the beginning of that fight, and then DPS and supports fighting it out. What looked to be a really good Death Blossom was stopped wonderfully by KK. You know, I think that was maybe a bit of a panic trance, but probably needed in the end because the Reaper did wake up. This Reaper is still proving to be such a problem. He's looking to be low. Maybe they can punish him with that fade. The Zenyatta is also maybe out of position, but a chance is going to save him. Terran is struggling again, and it looks like he's going to go down, and he does.
Okay, I thought that was actually a bad play from Cubic to go into the side. It was obvious that everyone was going to chase, but that was the entire game plan. Everyone follow in. I'm a weak, poor little monk. Don't hurt me. And then Transcendence out, manages to join in with the rest of the team, and now it was just a case of Anomaly had pushed too far. They had committed themselves to a fight that they had no business being in and could not take. I don't know if they're even going to be able to contest this point.
I don't think they're going to, especially I don't think they should with the Discord monkey into a Reaper. They're going to, and I don't know. The Blade though comes out, and with no trance now, the Blade could get a lot of value. Terran's instantly going to fall. The Blade gets 1 and dies.
Yeah, that was a late contest, dropping a lot into there. And valiant attempt, shall we say, but it had to be, you know, a montageable play from BTS. You could see instantly the Genji just not working. The Reaper too strong and decides to go onto that for themselves. And I mean, Reaper used to have the problem where they couldn't do much at range. Even now, just tagging someone with a 2 damage pellet from 20 meters away is enough to trigger that passive, and so it's still worth it.
And Terran goes down instantly. This Discord with the Reaper is working so well for Anomaly and for Crimson. Anomaly just don't have a response to it. It's diving. It's a pattern that we're just seeing over and over again. Diving in and diving, diving in and dying, and now with this Death Blossom soon online, it's a worrying situation.
And that's the thing, is it's not just, nice counter comes out there using that Primal Rage to be able to clear the space, and then BTS fan coming in from the second layer, managing to take out his counterpart there. And so a good late hold. 2 minutes 30 is still a long time. Like you say, you're going to be coming in against the Death Blossom, you're coming in against the Kitsune Rush. I mean, those 2 ultimates alone together means that you're instantly chewing through everyone. And this, I think, is the big problem, that Lord of Terran has just been feeding ult charge to Arisen.
Yeah, it's you know, he struggled this game so far, but that was a very good primal that we saw that actually did turn that fight there. But no ults invested from the side of Crimson. Early fade forced out now, and we see already, look at Risen staging up on the high ground for that Death Blossom.
And so much confidence coming out from Super BH, followed up quickly by his teammates. Unfortunately, their carry code teleporting in too aggressively. Alphatello going to go down. The counter kills are coming out there. BTS fan starts to run for the hills and chased down immediately by a monkey. I don't know if Super BH wins that sort of fight, so he changes target instead and goes for the backline, has that Primal Rage, gets slept down for a second, but he's isolated the 2 supports, and that means all the space in the world. The poor Lord of Terran trying to fight it out on the point here. Suzu to keep the Zenyatta alive, and the progress of the payload keeps going. There's a Death Blossom on the payload just to make sure no one comes in and contests. And even having a Transcendence in the background means that Crimson are going to be coming out with all 3 points.
Yeah, they got over a minute, which is important because now it means that if Anomaly finish this map in overtime, they will not get a push. It's losable. So that's a very, very good push from the side of Crimson. That's what you want to see if you're on Crimson or if you're supporting them. Very, very good push. We still need to see a response from Anomaly because this Discord coupled with the Reaper has proved it's too much at the moment for either how Anomaly are playing or the heroes that they're playing. And we need to see a response, which we haven't seen. We've seen the only time that, you know, all neutral fights are going in the way of Anomaly, and it's heavy ult fights that are going of sorry, other way around. Neutral fights are going in the way of Crimson, and ult fights are going in the way of Anomaly. So now we need to see more neutral fights going in the way of Anomaly. And we're gonna have a stop Kurigari going on away from the Tracer onto the Sojourn. Maybe they'll put more pressure on the side of Super BH because he'll be using the tank as a way to get Railgun. But Super BH is going to be swapping. There's interesting swaps here. Risen giving up on the Reaper, which is a lot of success on, and going onto the Cassidy, and as well Super BH giving up on the Monkey and going onto the Diva. So I think these are good swaps on the side of them. We'll see how well they can play in the same situation where they look to be holding high ground.
Very interesting. I'm very surprised Risen's off that. It was too much because Lord of Terran really showing no flexibility in terms of who he's going for. And maybe this is actually an opportunity for it to come out right. You've got that Super BH Diva who's going to be able to mitigate a lot. Timing that defense matrix against the railgun shots is going to be very, very difficult. Instead, going to be able to at least contest the high ground. Nice aggression coming out from Super BH to go in. And then the Reaper, also a BTS fan, not going to be able to find a lot of purchase there when going into that defense matrix. Everyone else just able to fire in damage from behind, and Cubic obviously going to be able to do a lot with that, but needs to worry about Monkey into the back line. Lord of Terran followed up by the BTS fan Reaper, but BTS going down so low, decides to Wraith form out. Can he get enough distance to be able to be reinforced? Is healed up nicely by the team, and that pressure from Lord of Terran on the high ground has done everything. BTS up for another attempt in here, shooting out, giving the space for his team to capture this point, and it looks to be a very quick contest.
Yeah, it's amazing how much better that Anomaly play when there's no Reaper on the field. They played that really, really well, where they wanted to just force away those supports on high ground and the Discord onto Cubic, and then they dived in with the Monkey and they killed him instantly. So that was really well played. I think Risen is going to swap to Reaper.
Right. I mean, Fanhammer's
there it is.
Oh, it's like casters can see the whole field and what's going on at the same time. But it was an interesting call in the beginning. If it's not broke, don't fix it at the end of the day. And so Risen definitely making the smarter choice. And I would like to see Terran. I mean, something like the Diva is a good pick against the Reaper. So it would be the similar sort of playstyle. Still gives you that control and that mobility, but with the damage mitigation. Now we got to worry. BTS fan Wraith forms in aggressively there. Doesn't even have the ultimate up, but has the nano boost to try and put on all the damage. Eventually pays with his life a little bit too far there, and instead now you've got to worry about the Reaper on the other side. Nope, Risen also going to be the one to be taken out, and so a lot of the damage mitigated, but the payload stalled out here.
Yeah, Terran can now play the game. The Reaper has been dealt with. And he's actually doing quite well. They're forcing them to go all the way back. It looks like Alpha Tello is going to get... I know he's going to be chased, and I think he's going to go down, Force the Primal, that's not something you'd like to see because that's a real big sustain tool. But if they can get this cap, that late kill on Cubic is really nice. Well played there from Terran Lord and Phoenix getting that final blow. They might actually be able to cap with that, so maybe that use of the more rage is not the end of the world. Also, the way Anomaly's looking with their ults, it might be a good point for them. They can maybe snowball us if they get value out of these ults in successive fights.
Yeah, you said that they were winning that ultimate fight at the beginning of this match, and I definitely think it's coming out to their prevalence right now. You got BTS taking up a nice little sneaky position there. I don't know if anyone's going to really poke around this corner, but we're certainly ready for it in case. BH going on to that Junker Queen, going to be able to put in damage, and the Kitsune Rush forced out early into the straight into the Transcendence. So Transcendence kind of wins that trump card battle, countered out by a Transcendence on the other side. And that one pop later means it keeps going. And there's the Death Blossom. Eventually, patience pays off there. BTS only picks up one, but the Death Blossom on the other side, far more efficacious. Risen managing to pick up one, but he's alone on the point now, eventually taken out by the Disruptor shot and rail combo. The rest of this Anomaly side dropping kills very nice and efficiently. But can they come through? Still 4.5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah. Really good time bank for Anomaly, but really worrying fight for them because they invested so many ults, and they didn't actually gain that much. They gained a bit of distance, sure, and it's one fight territory now. But, after investing 4 ults, you'd have liked to think they maybe cap it out, so a bit worrying there. Marvels is going to have his railguns online soon. Kurigari going very low. But there isn't a lot to work with other than the nano boost. You think maybe they're going to nano boost the Monkey and engage very hard with that, but if Anomaly don't play this right, there is potential for them to not cap here at all. The way things have looked for this Reaper.
I mean, 4 minutes means that you've got the time that you want to build up your next set of ults. Lord of Terran, obviously very close. Phoenix also very high. But, I mean, they go in straight away. And here comes a rampage around the other side, deep into the back line. BH picks up one and followed up so quickly. Doesn't matter whether you're looking at the front line or the back line. Everyone dropping here from this Anomaly side.
Yeah, no, that was a really nice ult to BH.
Yeah.
One thing that Anomaly must be aware of is that ult, they have no response to it. The Queen ult, forcing the anti onto every single member of Anomaly, there's nothing response. They don't have a Kiriko, they don't have a Lucio, they have no response to that ult. So that's a free ult win there whenever they have that ult. This is now the opportunity. They force out Suzu early, they have to push in. Primal Rage coming out from Lord of Terran, but Kitsune in response.
And again, that Primal Rage seeming to get almost nothing out of this except feeding a little bit more ult charge to opponents. Kubek back up to that ultimate. Might need to drop it here if they're going to late contest here. If there's a big aggressive play coming out from Anomaly, then they will need that Transcendence, and taking a lot of damage in the center. It really is this pick fight. Which of these Sojourns can come out better? Both on the verge of having their ultimates, and Risen goes down. That opens up all the space, and even reinforced by that Transcendence. Late Transcendence going to be coming out on the other side. Perfectly timed to counter the Death Blossom. And it means that there's got a chance. Anti-heal means that still there's going to be death abounding here on the Crimson side, and Crimson living up to their name, showered in blood. Eventually, with 2 minutes 18, I mean, considering they started with 4.5, it's a decent hold, but it took just one big anti-heal to win that fight.
Yeah, that was a heavy ult-invested fight, but it was really well played. And actually, in the end, you know, we saw BTS fan using his Death Blossom. It was a good trance from the side of Cubic, but then that anti-nade really clutched up things. So it was really good play there. And actually, Anomaly ended with more time than Crimson, so that's good to see for the series and for the map, and obviously for Anomaly. Not that much time, sure, but given how map 1 went, where Anomaly started off so well and then Anomaly clawed it back and they won quite comfortably in the end, that's a good sign for Anomaly. And is this maybe Anomaly finding a solution to this Reaper? Because Terran has been struggling a lot into that Reaper, but you know, he did quite well there, you know, and after first point, they found the outside, I think. If they can keep forcing that Discord onto him, I think there is maybe a solution here.
Yeah, Terran just plays a little bit more patiently, meaning that they don't give the free shots, and there is still a Reaper on the other side, but it's actually been swapped up a bit. Risen going to be taking control of the Tracer, and Marv's actually swapping across to that, and Super BA swapping between a couple of heroes. Not 100% sure who he wants to play for now, but the stalwart composition still forced out, or chosen, I would say, by Anomaly. They're very content with how this is working, and it did work for them previously. Now the question is, how much can they mitigate with this D.Va? How much can they test the high grounds? And BH and Marvs go straight away onto that high ground. He's in a great position here to fire in that damage, and both of these very quick projectiles being able to really hammer in damage. The supports being the first focus, and they've been eliminated in quick succession.
A misplay there from the side of Anomaly. Their backline did not rotate quick enough at all, and they were caught there in that engage. That's worrying now. It's a really good start for Crimson. They're going to take control of point A. They're going to get that cap crucially, and they're going to be able to get maybe onto the side of the second point. We're going to see a swap immediately. BTS fan. No, sorry, he was on the Reaper. Apologies. We're going to see no swaps, I should say. But BTS fan is gonna be low. Ult's gonna be not soon. Keke going down is really bad, because now there's not a lot of healing from the side of Lord 10. They still have their Discord importantly, but it's a really important pick.
Yeah, that's your big healing, that's your anti-heal grenades, that's the sleep to try counter out some aggression from your opponents. And so, like you say, the rest of the side just kind of being still very aggressive. This is a weird positioning coming out here from Anomaly. They decided to go all the way back, just group up, force out that overtime. They know that they only need to win one fight.
Exactly.
And so they've decided, we're going to take this on our terms. Let's not give away any early kills. And considering the aggression coming out so far from Crimson, they thought that maybe they could bait it in. They're going to have to worry about the Kitsune rush. Comes out early. D.Va demeched instantly. Pulse Bolo 2! Risen comes out clutch. That's both of the supports down. Marv's managing to get a couple himself. And so even though you're in overtime, that's how you easily and quickly clean out a fight. But there should be a contest here on this point.
Yeah, I thought Anomaly might have had that after the pickup onto the mech, but you know that was a clutch pulse bomb from Risen, getting both supports, and now they're gonna get second point, and they're gonna get a decent amount into third, I believe, because Anomaly are only regrouping now. They're gonna be only engaging now, and it's a worrying position. That's a good start, but they don't have any ults to work with. Phoenix is gonna go down. That's a Discord down, but they do have ults to work with.
Suzu forced out earlier, and still the aggression coming out there. BH makes the aggression pay for what their hubris. Instead, Terran still on this primal rage, trying to work havoc in the back line, at least stalling out progress there, but not a lot of HP to work with. Does he have a jump to get back to the team? Not there in time. The boop from Cubic going to be able to secure that. And it's up to Kuragagi. Now, can you use this ultimates to great efficacy? Can you get the picks that your team so desperately need? Otherwise, you're facing a full 6 points.
It's a lot of ults from both sides. Terran is giving up on the monkey. He's going over to the Junker Queen. I think it's a good swap considering the struggles into the Reaper. The Nano Boost comes out onto the Death Blossom, I think. There it is. No, that's the Death Blossom from Marvelous. He's going to get KK but go down. And a much better Death Blossom from BTS Fan. He's going to get value on 2. At the same time, Kuragari is going to find some headshots with his railguns. And after some big ults, they do eventually stabilize and it's only 5 caps.
Oh, that's still a big distance to push. I mean, this last point of King's Row is, of course, notoriously difficult, but to get those 70 meters is huge, actually. I mean, I did like the way that Anomaly held their ultimates a little bit longer in those fights. They kind of counted. They waited for 2 seconds of the transcendence against their opponents. They let them drop the Death Blossom, just kited it out, and then re-engaged when everyone was committed to the fight from Crimson. But a little bit too little too late there. There was just so much consistency coming out from Crimson.
Yeah, importantly, KK got her Nano Boost out onto BTS Fan before she died. So that was huge, because it really let BTS Fan almost play the role of tank and just walk forward as a Reaper with 300 HP, and Nano Boosted and just, no, you can't stop me. Now, it's all on Anomaly. You know, they've done their defense, 5 points, not the best. Importantly, they didn't get the full cap, so it will be decided after this round, but it's all on Anomaly now. They did attack nicely. We've seen before, but it looks like Crimson are going to be playing differently on their second defense here. They're giving up on the Zenyatta. They're going to be playing the Lucio and the Kiriko together, so a much more aggression. And Phoenix and KK are going to face a lot more aggression, which is on them to now try to survive. But it's still all in Anomaly's wheelhouse to be able to pull this off.
The poke, the prod, no real pathing options for them to just get. Lord of Terran starting to take a bit of an aggressive position, spots out Marv and the Reaper hiding in the corner, who just has to wraith out, and it gives them a little bit of a window to start pushing forward aggressively. They don't manage to find anything, so they just back up a little bit. BTS Fan, unaware of the danger lurking behind them, does at least
they got mech.
They're covered. They've managed to take out the mech, but they've lost their own Reaper in the back line, and both DPS is falling instead. Risen doing a great job on this Tracer, tagging people to get that DPS passive ticking. And then, of course, finishing it off at the end of that, just isolating anyone. And so far, it's a long period of play here that Rage Quit Anomaly not managing to get any sort of progress.
That's almost a minute that's been burnt off the clock, just under, and that's really, really good from Crimson. That's all they need to. They don't need to win fights. They can lose fights slowly, but winning fights is perfect. Lord of Terran's going to swap off of the monkey onto the Junker Queen. Good swap, I think, given the situation, but they have to start winning these fights. He's going to go solo and force some resources already.
Oh, Terran, why would you poke like that? Get the anti-heal on you with still less than 100 HP. Decides to try and retake the fight. That just gives all the space here. And Crimson gonna take advantage of that. Push forward, get the late picks that they can. And still, it's Anomaly struggling to find anything.
Absolutely. And now it's a lot of ults coming up online. Sure, they have their Nano Boost, they're going to have their railguns, their Trance almost online. But on the other hand, we're looking at 4 ults, almost 5 inside of Crimson. And Crimson don't need to win all these fights. They have time to work with. And KK goes down. Terran goes down. 30 seconds left.
Phoenix down. Oh, this is just falling apart after such a close first round. It just is going all the way. I mean, Anomaly has done a good job to try so long, but now they seem to be falling apart. There's no clear go call. There's no clear plan about how to move through this. They're not trying any different pathings. They're just being held at bay. Lord of Terran trying desperately to just make some progress. Does manage to get the touch on the point, and the rest of the team actually following quickly behind it. This might not be all their roads. Transcendence on the point. They are going to fight this to the death. BTS Van, he gets the 2 kills, even taking out the mech. Oh no, we have called this way too early, Fluffy. There is still a chance for Anomaly.
There is a chance, but you forget they have to get to 3rd point.
I said a chance. I said a chance.
It's now the worry is now for Anomaly is that they only have their rampage, the Queen ult. But Alphatello has potential to negate that entire ult. If Terran Lord doesn't get value out of his ult, it's potentially over here because Mars has that Death Blossom as well, and there's really no negation from the side of Anomaly on how to deal with that ult. KK has to sleep the ult. It's literally that simple. If KK doesn't sleep the ult, if Terran gets Suzu'd, it's over. So it's such an uphill fight now.
It's going to be difficult, and it just comes down to a matter of time. And we've seen this Anomaly side; they don't waste too much time. There comes the rampage straight away. It's Suzu, but it's a bit too late. Marv's going to go down there, and so they do get the value out of that ult that you were hoping for. It just took the one, and they're winning the fight. I mean, there is lots of ult still lingering, and so the work not completely done just yet. But I mean, it's progress. Every step here is progress.
Yeah, Terran came out and actually got a good ult. Super BH was taken down by it. The Suzu was a bit too late. It only was onto Alphatello. So maybe this play, maybe some good play there from Lord of Terrans. And I think that Anomaly here are going to be able to cap second. I don't know if Crimson are going to get the contest. Maybe with the speed boost they can. But regardless, it's now in fight territory. Oh, this is a worry now. Terran's going to go down. Oh, Kuragari goes down as well.
Doesn't matter that you didn't get the contest before the point. They don't get extra time, so you can still take the fight afterwards. And there it is. The cleanup comes out, and VA Crimson eventually just built enough of a lead that they could play around as much as they needed.
Yeah, in the end, it was a good push from Anomaly, but it was a better push from Crimson. And after that good fight, it was just, it was a well-placed Diva Bomb, which caught Terran out of position. He didn't really have anywhere to go into. Booped away from cover by Cubic, so well played there. But then, your tank's down, you're one of your big PS dealers with your Sojin gone, and then you're basically depending on a clutch play at that point, which into a Death Blossom is very, very difficult.
Again, that's Super BH picking up 2 of both of these player of the matches and the player of the games. That's fantastic, and it just shows the awareness of what his role is. The versatility of the tanks that he's coming out with is great. I think the Diva is an inspired pick right now. You enable your own Reaper to do a lot of damage, and you mitigate theirs at the exact same time. And it's not just the damage that you're mitigating, it's the sustain that you're mitigating. You're making sure that their Reaper BTS fan struggling to maintain the same sort of presence on the point. And I mean, that means that Lord of Terran has to do more work going forward, and eventually it seems that VA Crimson and this Reaper is just such a nice combo, and there has to be some big sort of communication between this Anomaly side on how they are going to deal with this. They've got to avoid things, they've got to get some distance. We are going to be going to Junkertown, which means that distance is the name of the game.
I think this is 2 things. This is Anomaly's map pick. Obviously, they lost the last map. They're going to be picking this map. This says 2 things. I think this answers your question you just asked. They need to have a solution. I think this is the solution. Because I stand to be corrected, but I don't think they're going to be playing the same sort of monkey queen style compositions on this map. I think they're going to be, maybe we might see some Sigma. Excuse me. Maybe we might see some Orisa. But importantly, what we're going to see is, I think, Kuragari on the Widowmaker. Kuragari, Widowmaker, a bit of a comfort for him. And this is a map for Widowmaker. Big reworked map, obviously. First point getting some major changes. Second point, some small changes. Third point as well. But still a very, very strong... Apologies. Still a very, very strong... I'm just choking on something.
I mean...
Still a very strong back for Widowmaker.
Yeah, I mean, and there straight away you see Risen and Kurugari actually going for this, so a very interesting fight. And both teams selecting that double sniper, almost the same composition coming out. BH, don't tease us like that. Don't go with the Mauga. That's not the play to go right now. I definitely favor the Sigma a lot more. You know, that damage mitigation, arguably the strongest tank of the patch for right now, being able to just deny things for so long. I mean, I heard the really terrifying thing that a Sigma can delay damage for so long between the grasp and the shield that it can kick in that support, the healing passive over on his own while in the middle of a fight. That's terrifying. And we're gonna see BH instead. It goes for that Doomfist, probably his most favorite hero. Oh.
So this is now the Risen is no slouch on the Widowmaker himself, but Risen is now playing into two snipers. So BTS Fan can still one-shot Risen, and Kurugari can one-shot him, but also BTS Fan can help Kurugari so much with that Hanzo. Marv's actually going to immediately go onto the Hanzo as well. Sorry. So now two snipers head-to-head. So, Kurugari getting value out of Mars. Lord of Terran has that shield, which helps his snipers. Super BH is going to be trying to pressure the snipers from the side of Anomaly. So,
where's Cubic going?
Different way. Cubic is chasing a sniper. He's decided to kill it. Surely they're going to kill him, punish him for this. Yes, they will. Okay.
I mean, I love the flanking, Zenyatta. I love the aggression. I love what it says about your mentality. Solo walking up those stairs late into a fight where you've already lost your tank. That's an interesting play, but does at least get you the spawn advantage, right? Got the kill out of it. I'm going to be quickly back into that, and means that there is an opportunity.
He's back, but so is Kurugari, so what does it achieve in the end? Not much. Phoenix going down, though, is a worry now, because that's a lot of your healing gone. Baptiste, your main source of healing. There's a Rock going on to Super BH. Can't really punish it because the shield's going to go. And we're seeing again the flank from Zenyatta coming out. It has been scouted out this time, but no, it's too late.
It's too little too late. I cannot believe Cubic and this playstyle, even surviving through that, manages to pick up 2 kills. And right there next to it, in fact, in front of the tank, this is some of the most aggressive Zenyatta play, and I'm here for it. I'm absolutely loving it. It proves efficacious, and the flanking's in. It's the new meta here.
It's honestly a bit of a misplay from the side of Anomaly because they're not scouting out the flank for it. So in Zenyatta, he doesn't have the footsteps, but you should know when you don't have Discord that that the Zen is flanking, and that you should be able to see him flanking. So better scouting needs to come out from Anomaly, and he's going to get punished now for the poor positioning that he took up there. So well scouted out there by BTS Fan and punishing for that play. They do cap first point with 4 minutes and 20 seconds, so that's good for them. Flux coming out, but there's not really anyone that can follow up on that. A good lamp from the side of Phoenix, and the Flux doesn't really get much.
Doesn't get anyone, and still this high ground pretty uncontested. Super BH on the low ground, unable to really find any sort of angle, but getting the progress on the payload, right? That's the entire job right now, and the rest of the team very split up, trying to distract them. Instead, the Flux comes out the other side. The Transcendence too low, doesn't manage to do anything to keep up, and instead it's all on Cubic. Kicks one off the high ground there, trying to come back up, gets a rock to the face for his troubles, but there's at least, I mean, there's effectively now 3 snipers here from this Crimson side. Marv's going to be able to pick up one, and still the payload continues to run.
Yeah, it's a bit of a back and forth fight there, but Crimson do win it out in the end. We've seen some nice shots from Kurugari landing, finding Risen, but Risen's now taking a flank. But the fights still keep going in the way of Anomaly, of Crimson, which is strange because Anomaly keep getting these picks.
Yeah.
So you want maybe a bit more of taking it slow, being a bit more measured, and playing these fights more effectively, because they are in the advantageous position and then they're losing it. So we want to see that change, but we do have ults on the side of Crimson. Oh, Risen takes out Kurugari there. That's a good start for that fight. So a lot of your pick potential gone immediately.
I think now, though, the big thing for Anomaly is that they've got a little bit more of the payload contesting now. The map geometry previously does favor going onto the high ground as we go into the middle of a ultimate fight. Transcendence forced out early, and Super BH taking up that aggressive positioning right in the thick of things there. Doesn't have a lot to back him out there. Cubic doesn't have an ultimate to back him up, but he's given the space that he needs for the team. The shot comes out. Risen managing to take out Rinku Hareru, the swap, the sub coming in there. Rinku, not a person that we often see on that support play. but is going to be taking that role up here as we see Crimson trying to just finish things out.
Yeah, it was an aggressive push with the Kitsune rush, and that's why we saw Super BH really trying to push in there, but it was well responded from Rinko Haru, who actually played very well. You know, getting the chance off, keeping his team alive, and then, you know, punishing Cubic for that aggressive push. Rinko Haru actually got the pick on him, and then it was a 3v2, but then Kurugari gets the pick to equalize 2v2, and at that point, you know, Lord of Terrans is still alive, and it's very difficult for anyone to kill them. They're on their own. So well played there, actually, from Rinko Haru and from the side of Anomaly on that team fight. And now the Flux is going to come out, but Phoenix goes down, and there's no chance on the side of Rinko Haru. This could be devastating, but 2BH is going to die.
The Suzu to keep Rinko up there, though, means that there's still a great chance here for Anomaly, and this is what I was talking about, the map geometry in their favor. Previously, they wanted to take the high ground, which meant that they had to give progress to the payload, and instead now they can hold their own high ground just above that payload and drop down when necessary. They've got better sight lines than their opponents, and they're managing to get the picks that they need to. Flux the only ones really traded out that stage, although now it's Crimson with ultimate advantage.
Yeah, they're holding this high ground really well, like you say. We're actually having some interesting swaps here. So Super BH is going to be playing a lot more aggressive on the Doomfist, and he's already going to find value on Kurugari. But BTS fan also has swapped onto the Genji. This aggression already paying off. He might die here for this aggression, but he's going to get Suzu'd actually. So no, there he goes. I cast a cursed myself. But the value coming out, and that's really well played. A good adaptation from Super BH and from Crimson.
Cubic! Running face to face to try and take Lord of Terror on the Sigma. Sigma, of course, the one who's often come out there, but the space has been made. Everyone else falling here from the Anomaly side. An Anomaly going to be difficult contention here. 2 minutes, 1 meter, and that is it. Second point secured. And eventually 2 minutes on the clock, just under, in fact, means third point going to be difficult. I don't know if we're going to see this completed all the way.
But you know, with this aggressive composition that we've seen Crimson swap onto, they might, because one of the, you know, Bap Zen, for example, is a very, very strong backline when it can do what it needs to do. It pumps out so much damage, and the Baptiste can do so much healing. Also is very weak to something like a Doomfist, so if we can see Super BH get value onto this backline, force them not to be able to put so much pressure onto the side of Crimson, that's the idea behind it. That's where the value is going to come from. And Terran is already struggling with this pressure from the Doomfist.
I mean, Terran was in a very aggressive position there, but does at least manage to get back to the team. It requires Rinko to drop Transcendence, though, and so the rest of the team keeping out. But this is where Anomaly's been doing so well. They drop the late Transcendence. Cubic going right into the face of his opposition and keeps everyone alive, sustained throughout. And it means that Anomaly, even after their ultimates, don't come off the better.
It seems that Crimson have forgotten that the point exists. There they go. They'll contest it now.
Win the fight first, right? Of course.
Sure, yeah. We're going to see a swap. I think that's a good swap. Lord of Terrans going up in the Sigma, going over to the Wrecking Ball. He's going to look to do the same thing as Super BH now. Put more pressure onto the squishies that are available on Crimson. Rinko Haru is going to get stuck on the pulse spot by the pulse spot. It's a good play from Risen. And honestly, this looks now to be in a position where Crimson are going to get the full cap. Blade coming out from BTS fan, but is he going to be able to cut? He's killed 2, but it's still 3 alive.
Yeah, there was just too much consistency coming out from Crimson. They stayed alive, and I eat my words. Humble pie served up on a platter for me. It is Crimson managing to get the full 3 points there, and it just comes down to great use of that aggression. You know, I was worried BH when he was on the Sigma was going a little bit too far forward, but with the mobility of the Doomfist, he certainly utilized that to his advantage, getting in there, punishing that back line, then making his way out back towards the side. And I mean, if you've got a Cubic running around in your back pocket as well, that's giving him even more space to cause some havoc where he really shouldn't be.
Yeah, it was a good swap from Super BH because, like you said at the time, Anomaly were really nicely bunkered up. They were holding that high ground on second really, really well, and it was like, you know, Super BH on the Sigma was running into a brick wall. He was struggling over and over again to force Anomaly off that high ground. The Kurugari was getting picks onto people. It was working so well. Crimson were looking, they didn't have an answer. They then swapped the composition, and all of a sudden it changed everything up. And Anomaly then all of a sudden just, you know, they crumbled, they fell apart. They didn't quite know how to respond to this aggression in their face, which has always been a bit of a theme for Anomaly, oddly enough. This aggression they struggle to respond with. We're going to be having similar comps from both sides here on the attack. It looks like normally you're going to be playing the double sniper again. One interesting stop though, we're gonna have Rinku Herrera on the Ana and not the not the Baptiste. He was playing the Zenyatta previously. Phoenix was playing the Baptiste, so it looks like they're gonna keep this Ana Zen. Risen on the Tracer and Marv's on the Ashe is a bit of an adaptation. So looking to put a bit more pressure onto the backline with the Tracer. Also looking to maybe, you know, do a bit more sustainability. Ooh, BTS fan finds Risen early on. That's a nice pick.
Big logs coming out there.
Down.
Yep, that's a problem though. You can't afford to take the hyper jewels, and I mean, now you're really worried. Where is your passive coming in there? Now you can sustain as long as you want, and you can see the aggressive play coming out from BTS fan only just escapes with their life, but the rest of Crimson being pushed back. Eventually, BTS fan, of course, taken out by the flanking Cubic. So a really nice play to even it up a little bit, but still the spawn advantage in the favor here for Anomaly. They're coming forward. They had already had the man advantage that they maintained, and Dynamite goes on to everyone, but counted out by that big heal grenade. Rinku, though, that's going to be the last he contributes towards this fight. It's going to be the last for many of the players without that healing behind them. Eventually, it's going to be Anomaly being pushed back towards their spawn.
Yeah, 1 minute off the clock, and it was not the worst fight because basically now Anomaly need to win that one more fight. But we're going to see ults now coming up online. The re-engage seems to be a problem, as we've seen this a trend in this match where we've seen Anomaly starting off really well, but then the re-engage, the middle fight. Anomaly win the early fight and they lose the middle fight. And there we're going to see a nice pick from Risen onto Kurigari, so maybe the early fight not going the way of Anomaly here. But it's a trend, unfortunate trend, where we can't finish off these fights.
Oh, great Dragon coming through from BTS fan. Realizes Super BH without any sort of resources to stay alive and separated from the side. Here comes the early fight that you talk about from Anomaly, where the Crimson can come back into this. And that's kind of what Tracer Ashe offers for you. You get a nice Dynamite on there, Pulse Bomb straight onto Lord of Terror, and a nano boosted up to stay alive and healthy. Nice to head back though with that. I don't know if that's the peel that you're going to be looking for. Yes, Cubic's on the high ground, but eventually goes forward, and Flux going to be the end of Lord of Terror, and so not utilizing their ultimates to the best that they could. Instead, it gives some space. BH going to take down the poor waiting Rinku in the corner. Eventually, like you say, once more we see the pattern repeat. Anomaly win the early fight, but they throw it away halfway through.
Yeah, we saw, you know, again, we saw the flank from Cubic, but it got scouted out and it got punished. But then there was that good Flux Super BH, and it got value, which was just, like you say, the middle fight is just not going in the way of Anomaly. They do have the ults now. They don't, they're going to open with the Visor, the Infra sites. They have their Trance, they have their Flux. Those are their big resources, but the Trance is there. But it's not going to go out. You know, they decide not to Trance out, but actually, no, it's a headshot from Kurigari, so that's quite nice. Can they get this value out of this though? Terran probably gonna maybe go down, but actually lost the Trance, so well played there. Now they should win this fight.
Yeah, Trance was great there with that window and the rock making Lord of Terran's life hell. He certainly desperately needed a bit of a bailout, and he manages to get it. We see Anomaly, they finally gathered themselves as a team. They've been able to just consistently get picks on the other side. Still the sniper shots ringing out across the battlefield. But BTS takes a nice aggressive position, uses the Storm Arrow to find mobs on the other side, and the lack of a one-shot kill from this Crimson side certainly paying off dividends for Anomaly.
Yeah, the only person on the side of Anomaly that Marvs can one-shot is Kurigari. But Kurigari's been landing his shots. There being another shot onto Cubic. Nice, well played. They still, Risen is alive. He might either, he's just gonna die. That's alright. He dies with his team. That's not the end of the world. So after now, it'll be really how well can they snowball these fights, because we're gonna see Terran should have his ult soon, but Super will have 4 ults on the side of Crimson. Not that many on the side of Anomaly. Dragon Strike, difficult to get value with sometimes, especially with how split teams will play in these kind of spam double sniper competitions. Oh, that could be good. It's a good lamp, but it's, Terran plays that really well and actually destroys the lamp, and that means that BTS fans Dragon gets value, but the Flux in response.
Oh, that's actually huge, managing to push out their BH, not a man who runs backwards very easily, and he manages to come up with 3 kills there. I cannot believe that Crimson was able to pull out at the end of that fight. The Dragon from BTS fans straight down the narrow corridor, picking up 1 and putting all the pressure, splitting things off, but BH pretty much solo, and even with the late Transcendence from Cubic, I thought it was a little bit of an investment of ultimates where it wasn't needed, or at least wasn't going to make a big difference, but it comes out. Now we see BTS fan, he opens opens things up. And this is kind of where the fight turned. The entire momentum shifted for the previous round. Instead, whether it's going to come out with Crimson having some good positional advantage. Lord of Terran comes out, decides to throw out that Flux, going to take out the support, and Alphatello not long for this world. Still, Super BH charges forward, reinforced by Bob. It's going to be difficult. Lord of Terran with that nano boost, going to be able to at least hold the ground for a long time, but difficult for anyone to follow through. No one wants to, though. Kuragari happy to sit in the background and take the shots. Cubic on the high ground, trying desperately to find something, and with Risen to try and secure any kills that they can, but there's no kills forthcoming. It's just going to be Anomaly walking that point through to the second post.
Every time that, you know, BTS fan or Kuragari get an opening pick in a fight, and I'm always worried, are they going to lose the fight? And thankfully that time they didn't. They played that well and they snowballed their ults well. But it's this trend that it terrifies me, because they keep starting so well and then they keep throwing it away. Dragonstrike gonna come out there, almost gets value. CBH is under so much pressure, but he looks to be like he's gonna survive.
It's that sustain that comes out from the Sigma, just having so many tools in your back pocket to be able to keep yourself alive. Both rocks finding nothing but shield at this stage, but it's the damage from the high ground that's really proving pivotal. BTS fan has managed to find 2 in this fight already, and BH now being peppered down. He's only got shield to cover so many angles, still trying to fight toe-to-toe, eventually makes his way back into cover, but the payload continues to tick. Remember, oh, that's a pulse bomb. Kuragari taken out by Risen on the high ground. Cubic in a little bit too much of an aggressive position, and instead now the Transcendence only available from one side. Still the Flux committed to this, straight into the Transcendence, so that's going to be healed up nearly almost. It was timed perfectly that the rest of Anomaly, they don't have the sustain. The Transcendence just faded a little bit too late, and Anomaly managed to pull it, Crimson managed to pull it back.
Yeah, Crimson really well played there, effectively in the 4v5, because we saw, again, it's nice to see Anomaly have started to punish these flanks from Cubics, and he's not getting the value that he started off the map getting. But on the other hand, then it's again, they punish the flank, and then they're not winning the 5v4. We saw the Flux, the ults come out in the value, and there's always something. It's just that, you know, those 1v1s in the mid fight are not going in the way of Anomaly.
Cubic now taking a good position. Remember, this is effectively what could be the last fight for Rage Quit Anomaly. They have lost the first 2 rounds, and they've actually comboed things, unfortunately, against each other. The Flux lifting everyone out of the Dragon, and that gives space to BH, even against a nano boost. Cubic, death from above in the form of a Zenyatta, and 16 seconds left. That's all that Anomaly has. They've lost the 2 rounds. This is the first, the 3, and so if they do not manage to touch here, that's going to be them out here of the Sunburst Cup.
Phoenix over to the Lucio to try contest, but the Flux will stop that contest. Terran might get the touch on, but the sleep dart! Oh, and that's it. That's Crimson taking the series 3-0.
Oh, that sleep at the end, just insult to injury. I don't know how long he was going to be able to contest, especially losing that. And once more, it's Super BH picking up the play of the game, 3 for 3 here, leading the team from the front. The aggression, just pushing those limits and knowing them so well, executing on every one of the heroes, showing such versatility within his hero pool, has just come out to be too much for Rage Quit Anomaly to fight. And I kind of feel like Rage Quit just took a little bit too long to adapt to the situation at stages.
Yeah, I liked the Junkertown map pick, and they played it quite well. There's always something going against it, just that little bit of, like, you know, we saw them starting well and then not finishing it off, and it was unfortunately a trend started from map 1 and it didn't change. But it was really well played from Crimson. We saw a good placement across the board. The DPS line, I think on this last map, I think, you know, the DPS line from Anomaly did step up. I think Risen and Mavs were struggling at times, but consistently they were, I think, better, I think you have to say. Super BH also performed very well, and we saw some flexibility, like you say, across heroes. It wasn't just one hero. We saw him playing Rhythm Monkey, we saw him playing the Diva, we saw him playing the Sigma, we saw him playing the Doomfist, and I think he did get quite a lot of value. And then also the backline from Crimson also did very, very well. We saw also a lot of adaptation from them. We saw Lucio from Cubic, we saw Zenyatta from Cubic doing very well on both heroes. We saw Alphatello also flexing between the Ana at the end with that sleep dart. We saw him playing very well on Kiriko fairly consistently. So well played across the board from Crimson.
Yep, And the flexibility extends past just their hero pool. The way that they were taking their fights, great. They were able to throw that aggression straight into the face of their opposition when they needed it, but also when they took a hit in the early fight, they were able to drop it back, just wait things out. They played some really nice late ultimates into the fight where they had baited out too much for their opposition. They were able to use the Transcendence to walk forward, for example. And I mean, Cubic was completely unpredictable for the majority of at least that last map, but it kind of reflects the series as a whole. They didn't Anomaly, where they have the experience behind them, they kind of still didn't know where they should be taking their fights. They weren't taking some good pathing. We saw very little in terms of the King's Row, especially that second round. They didn't manage to push through a choke point. They didn't go for a specific high ground, whereas Crimson, they were walking themselves into the presence of the opposition supports and being able to take them out and win that fight like that. They were able to keep progress and pressure on the payload for a long period of time and kind of force Anomaly to come and fight on their terms, or just give up way too much progress throughout and that sort of mentality, that sort of in-game shot calling beyond the overall strategy was so nice to see from this Crimson side. And it means that we continue with effective this sort of one-sided domination that we've seen throughout the Sunburst Cup.
Yeah, post-game, but the scoreline doesn't really reflect it.
Yeah.
The effect of this win, though, from Crimson is that now, with the other match also having completed, they will be playing Inglorious Blasters in the lower bracket semi-final. That, I think, will be the biggest test that they have come up against, at least other than the match that they did lose in the group stage against Five Knights. So that could be an interesting game. I think, though, it remains to be seen how well they will perform in that match. We'll have to wait and see. Who knows where you could watch that, maybe.
But yes, that does bring us to at least our top four. Five Nights at Freddy's and Pink Salamanders, of course, are waiting in that winners final. Absolutely. That match going to be coming up at 4 o'clock. And the losers semi-final, Inglorious Blasters versus VA Crimson. And I would say that this is a good reflection of what the tournament has shown us so far. All of these teams really dominating in the matches that they've been presented. And so now is going to be exciting. Unfortunately, like you say, we don't have streams for either of those semi-final matches, or at least the winners final and the losers semi-final, but we will be back at, I believe it is 6 o'clock tonight, 6 and 8. We're going to be taking on that losers final at the bottom there. It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, the loser of the Five Nights at Freddy's versus Pink Salamander is going to be taking on the winner of that Inglorious Blasters versus VA Crimson. Do you have any predictions for us, Fluffy?
For which match?
The series, the tournament as a whole.
Tournament as a whole, I think it's difficult to predict the upper bracket semi-final because the last time we saw the two teams play, actually it was Salamanders who got the victory, but it was Five Nights who won the tournament. So that's a bit of a matchup. I think that'll be a very close game, and I think that'll be a good game, especially because Salamanders are a team that have a lot of, they can play a lot of different styles because of the size of their roster. They have a lot of very good players in their roster, so it's very difficult to say how Salamanders are going to play. On the lower bracket thing, Inglorious Blasters is a bit of a wild card at the moment with their roster changes, so it's difficult to give the honest prediction. Between Crimson and Inglorious Blasters, I think I might be a bit influenced and biased in that answer. I think I will reserve my opinion as I may be playing in 20 minutes. But I think we can't put aside the quality that Crimson showed on display here. And for me, my player of the match, I always give, not necessarily to who I think was the best player on the performance, it was played the best or was the MVP, so to speak, but rather who was the most entertaining. But for me today, that answer is one and the same because I enjoyed and I thought Super BH played very, very well. So for me, Super BH, excellent across the board. Also, very, very entertaining match from him. So that's for me the player of today's match.
Yeah, fair enough. Gets 3 plays of the game, takes position, and having someone strong like that on your front line certainly gives the rest of the team a lot to work with. Was able to really push those limits. Going to be very interesting, like you say, against as you get to better and better teams, those limits certainly become a lot smaller. And we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that positional mistakes get punished a lot more stringently. So I think BH going to have to recalibrate himself as he goes up against each of these different matches. But with all of them being best of fives, we certainly have the time to do that. So guys, that brings us to the end of this little broadcast for now. Still the action going to continue in the background, and then we will see you. I'm going to be there at 6 o'clock certainly, because I want to see the culmination of COWZA's first tournament for the year, and hopefully the first of many. So last thoughts, Fluffy.
Last thoughts? Well, ESCOM doesn't help things, but we'll try our best in spite of it, and we will see everyone hopefully for some very good Overwatch later today as we go to the very tip of quality in South African Overwatch.
Looking forward to it, guys. We'll see you then. 6 o'clock. Don't miss it. We'll be there.